Good morning, everyone. Now, beginning with our last topic today of this chapter, right? The last few topics, the very first one, surveys have become important. Now, in the previous topic, we have studied about the official records, why those official records were important, and how those official records helped us in understanding our history. Now, surveys become important. The practice of surveying also became common under the colonial administration. The British believed that a country had to be properly known before it could be effectively administered. Means they should know about each and every aspect of the country. They should know about its population, they should know about the culture, they should know about the geographical and the physical features of India so that they can administer the country very properly. By the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to map the entire country. Now mapping was done, right? Mapping of the entire country was done. Why? Because Britishers wanted a full control over India. They wanted everything on map. They wanted each and every regions to be shown on map. They wanted to survey each and every areas of India. They wanted to know about the people of India, right? They wanted to know about its villages, everything. So by the early 19th century, detailed surveys were being carried out to map the entire country. In the villages, revenue surveys were conducted. The effort was to know the topography, the soil quality, the flora, the fauna, the local histories, and the cropping pattern. All the facts seen as necessary to know about to administer the region. From the end of the 19th century, census operations were held every 10 years. These prepared detailed records of the number of people in all the provinces of India, noting information on caste, religion, and occupation. There were many other surveys: botanical surveys, zoological surveys, archaeological surveys, anthropological surveys, forest surveys. Now, what official records do not tell us? From vast corpus of records, we can get to know a lot. But we must remember that these are official records. They tell us what the officials thought. Now they tell us what the officials thought, what officials were interested in, and what they wished to preserve for posterity. These records do not always help us understand what other people in the country felt and what lay behind their actions. Means these were the official records of the Britishers. These surveys were done by the Britishers, right? Whatever surveys, whatever records were being maintained, they were only from the British point of view. These records never mentioned the sufferings of the Indians. These records never mentioned what Indians were going through. For what we need to look now, for that we need to look elsewhere, right? The history from the Indian perspective, from the Indian point of view. If we want to study our history, right? If we want to study about our people's suffering, if we want to study about our culture, we'll have to look for history somewhere else. When we begin to search for these other sources, we find them in plenty, though they are more difficult to get than official records. We have diaries of people, accounts of pilgrims and travelers, autobiographies of important personalities, and popular booklets that were sold in the local bazaars. As printing spread, newspapers were published and issues were debated in public. Leaders and reformers wrote to spread their ideas. Poets and novelists wrote to express their feelings. All these sources, however, were produced by those who were literate. Now, only the literate people can write. Only the literate people can express their ideas through reading. What about the illiterate section of the society? Right? Even they were going through the same suffering. But how were they reflecting their ideas? From these, we will not be able to understand how history was experienced and lived by the tribals and the peasants, the workers in the mines or the poor on the streets. Getting to know their lives is a more difficult task. Yet, this can be done if you make a little bit of effort. When you read this book, you will see how this can be done. Not fit for human consumption. Now, newspapers provide accounts of the movements in different parts of the country. Here is a report of a police strike in 1946. More than 2,000 policemen in Delhi refused to take their food on Thursday morning as a protest against their low salaries and bad quality of food supplied to them from the police lines kitchen. As the news is spread on the other police stations, the men there also refused to take food. One of the strikers said, "The food supplied to us from the police line kitchen is not fit for human consumption. Even cattle would not eat the chapatis and dal which we have to eat." Hindustan Times, 22nd March 1946. Now, this is a news published in the year 1946, a year before India got independence, right? So, this what does it reflect? It reflects that printing of newspapers have started, right? Now, class, what you will do is you'll go through this activity. Look at sources 1 and 2. Do you find any differences in the nature of reporting? Explain what you observe. This activity you will perform and you will write it in the form of cutouts and you will submit it to me positively by tomorrow. Now, your chapter is over, right? Now, what we have are your questions. Simple questions are there. You can solve it, right? And if any query is there, if you feel like you need help in solving these question answers, right, you can raise your queries on your WhatsApp group. Firstly, you will go through them on your own. If you feel you cannot answer it on your own, you can ask me on your WhatsApp group, right? Thank you.